I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And I'm JT Timmons.
And today we have a very special episode because it's Chris's birthday!
Woo! Chris's birthday!
Not technically today, but we are celebrating it today.
The Susie family has a long tradition of celebrating a birthday for approximately 2 weeks. So 2 week minimum.
Yes.
You know, a 2 week minimum of birthday celebration. So this is right in keeping with Susie family tradition.
In true Leo fashion. Although you're a cusper.
I'm a cusper.
Do you cry about your birthday?
All the time.
That's the Cancer way. So
I feel deeply.
Feel deeply. And then the ego
I'm
inflates.
wonderful. I'm so sad to be so great.
But we are going to be using today's episode as a moment to appreciate all of the wonderful moments of Chris.
Moments of Chris.
The Chrisisms. And so we have selected 5 of Chris's best moments. So if we miss something that you think might have been Chris's greatest moment, let us know in the comments below. But this is, in our opinion, the best 5 moments.
Yes.
But before that, we do want to say, if you want to become a parajunkie, now is a great time to become one. I mean, any time's a good time to be a parajunkie.
It's true.
Currently, we are live streaming as we film this episode with the Parajunkies, and they're able to chime in with us, get little sneak peeks of things.
Right. They see it before everyone else.
They do, literally as we're filming it, or they get to see the episode ad-free every single time, way before everybody else gets to see it. So if you're into that type of stuff, and also a really cool community of people, definitely become a Parajunkie.
Yep.
But before we get into Chris's greatest moments, we have gifts.
Yes. A couple of the Parajunkies sent in gifts.
All right. Also, I should add, these were in shipping boxes, but I'm a dummy, and I didn't think to not open things. So
Well, we had everyone address. It to me.
Yes.
Because that's what the mailbox is under, the suite number is under. So so Madison just opens all of our packages all the time. But the one I was like, Madison, stop.
I saved one.
Yes,
one made it.
Monique, she was she put it in bright green. Like,
she caught my
open
attention.
This.
She's
Yes.
This is how you do it. If you ever want to send us anything again, make it brightly colored so it's in my face of Madison. Don't open this yet.
Bridget Terrina says, "Happy birthday, Chris."
Thank you.
All right, ta-da! Gifts.
Woo!
Gifts.
And
That's insane.
and a knife.
Oh,
You're
sure.
gonna need that.
All right, YouTube, this is not a real knife. This is fake prop knife, not real. Do not give us a strike.
Pretty sure by just saying knife and strike on this video, we're gonna get
said,
one.
put a bleep.
Alrighty.
Put a bleep.
This is well packaged. The tape forms an almost impenetrable.
Monique,
Who's it from? It should say it on the top right. Turn around.
Monique.
Yes.
This is from Monique. Thank you so much. It's lovely and secure.
Secure.
I'm going to comment on its security a lot because I get a lot of packages that are not secure.
She made sure that it got here safely.
Yes, it is highly defendable. Never pull a knife towards you while cutting. That is just a bad idea. All right, so lots of bubble wrap, which I'm also a fan of. Oh, well, here's a card. Happy birthday, Chris.
All right, let's read it.
So the card is, it's very shiny and pretty. It's definitely lovely.
Nice. Lift the mic up to your mouth just a little bit more. There we go.
All right. So lovely, lovely card. The interior. Chris, long story short, I work for a company that does estate sales and home cleanouts. A few years ago, I found this piece and had to have it. While I think it's awesome, I think you will get much more joy and use out of it than me. Have fun stabbing little cubes of meat and cheese and very small menacing spirits. P.S. I don't think it's haunted. Have an oogity boogity birthday, Monique and PJ.
Oh, thanks, Monique.
What?
And PJ. That's awesome.
Have fun stabbing meat with it.
All right.
So,
I'm excited to see it.
I'm thrilled.
Ooh. Oh, my.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh.
I was like, oh, what? There's definitely more to it.
All right.
Whoa.
Tell the listeners what it is.
Swords!
Tiny
swords. That's
Doesn't
awesome.
get much better than that. It is,
Monique, that's good.
rapiers, to be exact. Lovely, amazing rapiers in a little rapier.
That's so cute.
That's so cute.
Just stab tiny
Yes.
cheeses.
I will stab the tiny cheeses with it.
Yes, for all the listeners, all the podcast listeners, we do. If you want to see it, it is going to be on YouTube.
It's amazing and beautiful, beautiful swords.
Nice.
These are all
That's so
wonderful
cool.
representations of actual rapiers. There's some Capimonte. There's a few sabers. Lots of
And go ahead and
Italian
lift it up a
fencing
little
swords.
bit. Go ahead and lift it up a little bit. Just all of it.
So it has a little stand,
Nice.
and it's full of holes.
To
That's
hold
cool.
your sword.
That's so cool.
So
like
as
they
you're
go in.
serving your guests.
They know you so well.
They do know me so well. This is definitely up my alley. It and it is fantastically strange.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have seen like the plastic sword toothpicks. These are metal. When I was a kid, my GI Joes would have loved this. This would have been the thing.
The prime weapon.
The prime weapon. I would have replaced all lightsabers with these. Although they would do damage. This is if you have to fight small, tiny things, this is what I would choose. Oh,
if you're fighting
And
tiny fae.
Ashley said that's so cool.
It is. It is very cool.
I am cooled out by it. It is a wonderful, wonderful gift that truly is up my alley. That is a fact. I own so many sharp and pointies. So thank you.
Very nice.
Monique.
Very nice.
Wonderful gift, thoughtful and appropriate.
Very cool.
Quite.
Put this down. Now I have a lovely envelope addressed to me. That's how I know it's for me.
Yeah.
Ooh, ah. Aw. This is a cat lounging. It says, "A little bird told me you're another year older, so I ate him." Happy birthday, Chris. Thank you for sharing all your paranormal knowledge with us and for creating the best podcast ever. Aw, thank you. I hope you have the best day. Stay spooky, Ryan Bingham. Thank you, Ryan. That is lovely.
That is sweet.
It is
very
sweet.
sweet.
It is cute. There's something else in here. It is a button. It is Monsterologist button. It is a Bigfoot button.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
I can go out
Look at that.
and show the world that my cryptozoological skills are
That you're a
on
Bigfoot
point.
man.
I am a Bigfoot man.
Yeah, they know
I
you.
have.
Oh
They
my
do.
gosh. Wow, swords and
Big feet on top
Bigfoot
of
so
that.
far.
That's true.
That's wicked.
They've been paying attention.
Yeah, they have.
Ah, excellent. I should have been like, I love gold bricks. I collect gold bricks.
Super
Large
into gold.
Gold bricks. And this is a bag. It says, from Stacy Peterson. Thank you. The bag reminds me of Mike and Ike's, which makes me happy.
It does.
I am,
Oh, it does.
does,
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
So
That's funny.
Oh! It is a book. It's the Everything Ghost Hunting book.
Ooh, cool.
Ooh.
Of which I own 2.
No.
And now it's my 3rd. I love it. It's great. No. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
These are great books. And we will actually, we'll keep it here so
For
that
reference.
we can, reference it and utilize it in ghost hunts. This is awesome. Thank you so much. And again, right up my alley because I bought it twice before.
Clearly, you hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
Like it's.
Well, Madison will be reading it, I'm sure. Now that we
No, it's great.
surplus.
It's and I always loved it because it has the same kind of connotation as like those books for idiots. You know, like
Okay.
you know, Computers for Idiots, the Ghost Hunting for Idiots, but it does not call you an idiot. So I'm very pleased.
I think it says that it has all the new ghost hunting technology included as well, which is pretty fun.
Indeed. Very nice.
right.
Thank you so much.
Ooh.
These are wonderful.
Yes.
They are wonderful.
Not expected. I'm very pleased to have all of you in my life, and thank you very much.
Aw.
And
That's
this
lovely.
honestly should just sit in the middle of the table.
I know,
for
now
like
that's
the rest
awesome.
of the episode because it's so cool.
It is so cool.
very cool.
It is so dope. Alrighty, let's get on to the meat and potatoes of the episode, and let's talk about Chris's greatest moment.
Chris's greatest moments.
Yep. So Madison, Debria, and I were the sole choosers of these greatest moments.
no.
And we already have a couple Parajunkies chiming in. Corrine said, if one of Chris's top 5 moments isn't the sailor ghost in this house with no feet and he sinks to the floor and grabs his swords, love that story.
Well, Corrine, apparently you should have been on the commissioning board for
I
this.
know, right?
It's
It's true. Next time we do this, we're gonna for next year we're gonna let the Parajunkies choose.
Parajunkies.
Yeah,
But-
honestly, we should have done that to begin with.
Well,
but
we just had
still.
so much going on with Hawaii and all of that. It was just insane. So
So it was us. We ought to decide.
yeah. And so, all right, here we go. And
right.
Wanderlust Magic said, "Happy birthday, Chris."
Thank you.
All right.
You have like a
Let's
tree of
get
swords.
on to the first one. So we're going to watch the the moment, and then we're going to discuss it. And Chris is going to tell us what the hell he meant about it. by it.
Absolutely.
And then Chris, real fast, could you just lift your microphone up just a little bit more using the? There you go. It should be there's like a switch or like a toggle just to tighten it. There you go, just like that.
There she goes.
Just a little bit.
There
'cause
we
you're
go.
so tall. Okay,
There we go.
There we go. All right.
That's your problem.
Is everybody ready?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Thing is, not to be, it's very possible that the spirit, as terrible as it was also because, and this is going to freak everyone out. Every mirror on the face of the earth is haunted.
Yes.
Every single one. The biggest, strongest spirit near a mirror will grab hold of it and keep all other spirits at bay. It will fight for this glance into our world. A portal's the same way. The biggest, meanest is going to stand at the guard because it wants the energy of the portal. It wants the energy of the area that the portal came from. If you remove that one, the next biggest thing or a bigger thing with no fight might be on its way. And if it's closed, it's closed. That's great. However, how closed, how secure, how tight, and it comes back to that wonderful phrase, I don't know. We just don't know. And we don't understand it.
And she did.
Well, and that one's funny because that TikTok just sent the internet into a frenzy.
I think
It
it was
still
like
does.
our first viral or blow up video, which is funny because it's not a foreign concept.
It's not
even.
It's not.
It's not like revolutionary. It's like I've never heard that before. It comes from multiple sources. Every culture has mirror lore and mirror folklore and how to behave around mirrors. Mirrors have always been, at their heart, a source of paranormal angst. So it was weird that the response was, what? Because I was like, oh, I feel like it was not alarming to say or revolutionary by any stretch of the imagination. But my one of my main like fearful connotations of mirrors comes down to Bloody Mary, which is, universally well known. It's because it is one of these weirdly casual things that come into your life and pass through, and it's a little kids slumber party game. But the more you think about it, the more really disturbing that the concept is. And it's like, well, what are we really doing? We're conjuring, is what we're doing. We're summoning. It's an act of a ritual of summoning that we practice, to torment each other in our youth. So yeah, I did not expect or anticipate any blowback on that. I think I was almost being sarcastic when I was like, I'm going to ruin this for everybody.
Right.
Because it's like, well, you should know that there are countless ghost stories, countless ghost traditions, countless superstitions all around mirrors. And I would cite this book that I read when I was young, Mirror Lore, which still has evaded us entirely. We cannot find it anywhere. And we have looked and scoured for this. And I've been looking since I was 11 years old, just for another copy of it. And it was in the Vincenza military base public library is where I got this book. And there's no telling. It could have been independent press. It could have been, literally some kook was like, I'm binding this book and putting it out in the world. I don't know, but it was an interesting book, and it detailed, and not fantastical stories. And people are like, "Well, that's just ridiculous." It's like, have you never heard of Bloody Mary? Have you never heard of a doppelganger? Have you never heard of covering your mirror on the day of a funeral? All of these things come back to a central source that mirrors have always given people a healthy dose of heebie-jeebies.
And it's funny. I don't know. Did you ever read the article that was written about that TikTok?
No.
Yeah.
There was an article?
There was an article.
Wait, hold on, honey. There's an article?
There is an...
I literally am the producer of this show, and I have no idea about this article.
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
So I once Googled our podcast, and and it was like, this was months ago, and one of the fifth things down was this article, random website, and it was just calling Chris and I quacks, basically, because they're claiming that every mirror on planet Earth is haunted. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's like the whole...
Well, yeah.
And right away, it's like, yeah, it's hyperbolic. It's not meant to be taken as, the end-all, be-all of facts. It's just one of those things where it's like, a commonly accepted thing is that mirrors are haunted. A commonly accepted idea is that the mirror is actually a threshold between one world and the next world. A commonly held belief is that a mirror, to have a mirror, is to elicit pride, which is a sin, one of the cardinal sins. So, there's all kinds of things that play into having mirrors, but the fact that it got so sensationalized and people were going crazy over it, it's like, that was a real casual comment that became kind of...
They lost their minds over
it.
They did.
So I apologize to the internet for causing any distress over, our ghost podcast, where I might talk about ghosts and haunted things. I try not to say too many things that are definitive, but saying all mirrors are haunted is kind of a nod to the fact that every culture on the face of the earth has mirror-related folklore and superstitions and beliefs. And if that is the case, then yes, every mirror is haunted by merit of consensus. If every culture in the world can kind of get behind the idea that mirrors might be a little wonky, maybe they're a little wonky.
So take that, random internet blogger.
Yeah. So Corrine said, I still can't look at mirrors the same after that episode, especially at night. I actively do not look in them at night now.
Good choice.
Yes.
I will never. And one day on this podcast, I will tell you the story about the Bible mirror.
One day.
One day. Just
One
got to
day.
keep watching. All right. So here we go. This is the next one. And can anybody guess it? It is let's see.
This is a 4-parter.
This is number 4.
When I was 6 years old, my family moved to Germany, and we lived in Hamburg, Germany. And I made friends really quickly with this kid. I'll call him Dave because I don't want to use his real name. And we went exploring, and this was the 70s. We're young, but for some reason, very unsupervised. And we lived on a military base, but we were right against, and we called it the economy, the German city. And I would follow Dave anywhere, and we would just go, out exploring and having a good time. And we came across this dilapidated old house, and every place has one of these dilapidated old houses. You just look at it and you're like, oh, that's a haunted house. You just know, you're just standing in front of it and you're like, yeah, that's obviously haunted.
Yeah.
And it had big German signs on it, and, we didn't read German, and we're just like, obviously those signs say the most haunted house in the entire world. So, we're looking at it and we're like, stay away, But Dave, being a more adventurous human being, decides that he wants to go inside. And so he starts rattling on the doors, but they're all nailed shut, and trying to pry open the windows. He's circling the house, and he's like, oh, hey, I found a way in. And I'm like, oh, great. So I follow him over, and it's on the ground, and it looks kind of like a shoebox-sized window, and he has slithered his way into. And now he's inside the house, calling to me. He's like, hey, Chris, come on. And I didn't want to be that kid. I looked up to Dave. He was 8 years old, and I was 6, so he was like, a god. So I followed him. I went into the house, but going into the window, I dropped down into the basement. Now I'm in the basement, and I cannot reach the window. The window is too high for me to try to get back out the window. And Dave is not in the basement. Bro. And I'm just looking around, and I hear him boom, 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 boom above my head. And so I'm in the basement of the most haunted house in the world. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I run up the stairs, and I get to that first floor, and I'm going around like, Dave. Can't find him. He's not on the first floor. Boom, 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 boom. I hear it upstairs. He's on the second floor. I'm like, oh, great. Now, the first floor was mercilessly dark. The windows were all boarded up, and I was feeling my way around, and the only light that was coming was from the second floor. It was coming down the staircase, so I was like, oh, I'll just go up where the light is, and Dave is, and everything will be okay. Everything in my body hurt from fear.
Yes, that's Jameson's favorite story of all time. Yeah.
I'm like, I think that's the one that Jameson chooses to fall asleep to every night.
Don't do that. So, yeah, that pretty much that is my first ghost encounter that I truly register and have a full story to, because there are plenty of instances where well, that was weird or that was strange, but that whole encounter kind of comes to a full head. And so whenever anyone asks me how I started down the road of ghost hunting or ghost investigation or believing the paranormal, that is the story that I tell. And it is fascinating because in, I guess, 2012 or maybe 2013, I actually went back to Hamburg and tried to find the house, but everything was so different. And it was weird because my actual where we lived was actually demolished, and there was all new buildings. So I was like, I don't can't register where I am or where this house might be. But yeah, Amberg is insanely beautiful. It is, and Germany is. Germany, there are so many castles on every hill, and like you're going to school, and it's like living in a fairy tale, because at any moment you're thinking, wow, this is when the Fae come and eat me. You know, this is obviously where I get carried off, because there's a castle on the hill over there and the river down there, and this. And Amberg was a. I want to say that the name is the egg, because it's an egg shape and it is walled in. So it's this walled town, the actual like Amberg proper, the downtown area. So yeah, that's just basically childhood memories right there. Yeah. But it is the very polished story of the events that led me down the path, because I always say that I started ghost hunting that day. Like after that event, I was desperate to, the best I can say is I was desperate to feel normal. Mm-hmm. So I was so scared of ghosts. I was so scared of it happening again, or scary things, that I felt compelled, and still do feel compelled, to go towards the places that are very haunted, very scary, so that I can have my own experience. I could wrestle with it on my own terms, and not have to imagine, I'm very happy when I go on a ghost hunt and nothing happens, because I can lay the ghost to rest in my mind, because otherwise it'll stay up there and it'll haunt me.
Didn't Wayne Brady reenact that?
Wayne Brady reenacted this story in the on Broadway in Freestyle Love Supreme, which is a like a hip hop improv show, and Wayne Brady played me as a child.
I love that.
Going through the story, and the thing about it is, Wayne Brady is my wife's favorite performer of all time. So my wife was watching her favorite performer pretend to be me. And strangely enough, I was sitting next to Bill Irwin, who is one of my idols.
Wow.
It just happened that he had the seat next to me. Bizarre.
'Twas a night to remember.
'Twas a night to remember for all.
All right, Jay.
All right, going to the next one. Here we go. And we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a nice little refresh, because it seems to need that. And I'm going to put my mic. And this is number 3.
No.
My dog was a terrible farter. And my dog would literally like enter the room, fart, and leave the room. And we're like, we just got drive-by'd. Our dog drive-by farted on us. And after he passed, there was more than one occasion where it's just like, Ranger?
Right.
and it was one of those things. And I there was a good bit of time. And, this might just be memory, when like out of the corner of my eye, I would have like Ranger walking by or something. I'm like, oh. And it wasn't abnormal. It didn't feel unnatural. It was only after I realized he had passed that I was like, oh, was that my mind playing tricks on me, or is Ranger still running around the house?
Well, and it could be a residual energy of
absolutely.
Ranger, But sometimes those smells aren't even associated necessarily with like a physical ghost. It can be
true.
Residual. Like the Marshall House, for instance, they have a couple rooms there where, the room smells like rotting flesh and things like that, but that's because it's a residual haunting from the amputations, from the infections, the medical procedures that happened in that building. It just leaves an impression, and sometimes those impressions smell horrible.
There you have it, folks.
So yeah, that was talking about pets haunting
Miss Ranger.
And the concept of, are animals ghosts? Can animals be ghosts? And I emphatically believe yes, of course. And I think that, I'm sure we've said this multiple times, but the clearest avenue for a spirit to communicate is love. if the connection is love, then the spirit has a clear path to you. That's why the most common ghost story I can think of is on the night my blank died, they visited me in a dream. On the night my grandmother died, on the night my uncle died, then the night, my beloved died, I had a dream where they came and they spoke words of comfort, or they told me everything was going to be all right. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that story, so much so that there's no question in my mind that we are absolutely dealing with a ghostly experience, a spirit speaking through the channels of love to reassure or to calm or to pass wisdom. And so I think that's true of pets as well, because of all the love that we put into the pet when they pass. I think that they can travel that love path back.
And that's how Ranger showed his love.
Yes.
Was farting.
Was farting. Well, and it's funny because Megan always says that he burped when he loved you. He'd like come right up to your face and be like, burp, and then he'd go away. And it's like, so gas in any form was Ranger's love language.
Oh, boy.
How do you think Starry would haunt you?
Oh, by knocking us over and pummeling us. We're fostering a very loving
A
pit
hippopotamus.
bull who
It's a
is
hippo.
75 pounds of pure muscle.
Just straight up.
Has yanked me into the woods.
Yeah.
Just like sees an animal, zoom, and I'm like, ah! So, yes, we are... we love that dog. It's a great dog. Its energy is a little high for us.
I think Starry would haunt you by coming up and you just feel this massive
Oh, yeah.
tongue
Lick.
on your face. That's my theory. And then Argyle, you all know how Argyle's going to haunt us one day.
Yes. Tennis balls.
Tennis balls.
Tennis
in the
balls.
face.
All right.
The scariest doppelganger thing I ever came across was that doppelgangers live inside mirrors. They're actually forming their shape by reflecting you.
Okay, so were you bothered by that? Were you bothered by that TikTok trend then when people were going? It was the audio. It was like, she must have been out of her head.
Yes.
And it would be like in the mirror.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's just it. The story is that sometimes when you look in the mirror, you just have that sensation that it doesn't look quite like you. There's something about the lighting or the mirror or something, and there's like, well, actually, it might not be you. It might be your doppelganger just waiting.
I do not like
that. And there were so it had a list of things like note how far away from the glass your reflection is. This is not something you really think about, but if you're looking at your reflection and it seems like the reflection is closer to the glass than you are to the mirror,
Oh my God.
you might be
I'm
dealing
going
with
to
a
cover all of
doppelganger.
my mirrors after this.
Only Chris can freak out 2 girls, 1 ghost.
Literally.
I'm just realizing that it follows the same pattern of Jeff Dunham's "You Might Be a Redneck" jokes. You might have a doppelganger.
That's your legacy.
If you're looking in the mirror and it's just not quite the same, you might have a doppelganger.
Do you get a doppelganger puppet with that?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Just,
Not Jeff Dunham, Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh, that's right. Well,
Jeff Foxworthy.
Sorry. Same difference. They're both Jeffs.
Yeah, Jeff comedians. So another thing that I never anticipated being a crowd pleaser is the word doppelganger. Pretty much if we say doppelganger, it's guaranteed to get some, acclaim or notice. People will pay attention. So we should start every show by just shouting doppelganger.
Yeah, you got a doppelganger, and you got a doppelganger.
Everybody's got a doppelganger.
Jordan Peele, please, please sponsor us.
All right. Are we ready for the last one?
Yes.
Bring it.
Okay. This one is this one's crazy. Real fast, actually, before we do that, Ashley Werner said, I hope Ghost Slumber Party makes an appearance.
Ghost Slumber Party.
Ghost Slumber, which one was that one? Did we went
Is that
through-
Washington, Georgia, with Chris in his Ghost Slumber Party room?
That's it. Yeah, I think that
I would
was.
imagine so.
I think that was. Oh boy.
Another great moment.
Another great moment.
Abandoning Chris in the scariest room of the entire hotel.
On the other side
and
of the hotel.
Literally staying as far away from my room as possible.
We're like, good night. We're all going to go cuddle.
On the ground floor. Easy access to the exit.
Yes. And then going back, just real fast, going back to Ranger Wanderlust Magic commented, I have a Whippet pick. Shepherd mix, and she's slim like a whippet, but mighty in terms of pulling strength. She knows she has leverage.
That's a pure muscle.
Yeah.
Like
It
all
is.
of those
It's
dogs
true.
combined.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and jump into the last one. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it is.
The thing that infuriates boomers.
Boomers hate it. And I love that about it. All right. And all the boomers that are Parajunkies listeners, we love you.
Yes. But does it make you mad? Is it like a instinctual thing within the boomers?
I don't know.
Like,
I
you're
don't
just
know.
like,
Comment
leave
below.
my Smurfs alone.
Yes. I believe 10% of our 10 to 15% of our listeners are of that age, so we apologize. All right.
It's just a joke.
All right, here we go. We all know it.
We all
it's
love
legendary. Everyone loved it except for me.
7.7 million views.
7.7 million views. Bam, bam, bam. All right, and
Do you want to hear how messed up my childhood was?
Oh, boy.
When I was a child, I lived in Germany, and we had a German teacher. Like for 1 hour a day, she would come in and she would teach us German. And at the time, Smurfs were just becoming very popular. Smurfs. And the only real Smurf thing that was happening at the time, there was no TV show or anything, was that you could get these little figurines that you put on your pencils.
Okay.
So you like put it on your pencils. I got Smurf on my pencil. I'm having a good time. Smurf on my pencil. My German teacher comes and says, "What is this?" And I was like, Smurf. But this is what she told us. She was like, "Where do the Smurfs live?" I was like, "Oh, they live in mushrooms." Yes, they live in mushrooms. I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
Okay, I'm sorry.
What does that mean? So this is the story she told me. Smurfs are, the way they reproduce is they lure children into snowdrifts. And the children fall into the snowdrifts and die. And then when spring comes, the bodies are found, but under the bodies are mushrooms. The Smurf village is the place where children fall over dead. Their blue skin is because they are all frozen children. They turn blue, and they mock the children because they wear white hats that indicate the snow that killed the child. This is what she told me. I was like 7 or 8 years old. And that was the story she told me. And so from that moment forward, I could never look at the Smurfs without thinking of small little dead children in the snow.
Was her like brother the guy that's like aliens? You know, the one that's like
She could have been. Well, and she also went on the record as a child. She says Gargamel was actually a very good German sorcerer who was trying to rescue children from the Smurfs. And so, like, I had this totally bizarre relationship with Smurfs. I never saw any. There's never been a follow-up on that. There's no story that suggested the Smurfs were made up by some goodly guy in Europe who was just like, these are cute little things, and they live in mushrooms. No. I was introduced to the idea that Smurfs are dead children who were lured there by fey creatures, and they live in the mushrooms that form under dead children who are lost in snowdrifts.
Hell yeah.
Yes. That is
yes.
so legendary.
Well, and it's so bizarre because, you know, it definitely comes down to, you know, I think this woman was really messing with me. You know, she was really messing with me. But the more I thought about it as I grew up, because, again, I tried to find anything that would support this. There was one story that kind of strangely supported it when I came across it, and that's because I couldn't unsee or unthink of the correlation, and that was, you know, the story of Redcap. If you're familiar with the story of Redcap is basically like this goblin that kills children. That's his whole thing. He kills children. What does Papa Smurf wear?
Ooh.
Papa Smurf wears a red cap. And it's like,
Bruh.
that doesn't seem accidental. There's something strange there, because red cap is kind of a well-known, I think it's predominantly an Irish thing, but the red cap troll and the red cap monster is kind of well-known throughout Europe as a child killer.
So,
Wow.
do you think your teacher's still alive?
God, no. She was old then.
Well, we're keeping her legacy alive. I was really
Yes.
hoping you'd say yes, and her great-grandchild would be like, Grandmother, look at what I found.
Look upon the TikTok. He's telling the story you told me. Yes, no.
Why are they from
That's
the
great.
16th century?
I don't know.
Look upon my black mirror of images.
All right, we have some comments. Corinne said, I forgot about this story. This is amazing.
How
JT's
could you
face.
forget?
Yeah. Ashley goes, JT's face is, in this clip, is the best.
That's really why you tell ghost stories, is to get faces like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got him.
Well,
you
JT's
got him.
expressive. He's just like,
I am.
what?
Wanderlust Magic said, ahaha, I will never see Smurfs the same, like the dark side of fairy tales / Disney. And Ashley said, that sounds like the Brothers Grimm version of the Smurfs.
Right, sure.
100%.
It absolutely is.
It really
Yeah, it's
is.
possible that my teacher's father had made a very similar story, and then it got stolen, and she was just bitter.
Bitter. Well, and I wonder, so the Smurf video, a lot of it, the reason why it went so viral is people are really sensitive about their Smurfs.
They are.
They're like, don't touch the Smurfs. You can touch anything else. Serial killers, hauntings, whatever you want. Possession, but not the Smurfs.
Not the Smurfs.
But it really comes down to, well, then what is a Smurf otherwise? Do we know? I mean, because I have never paid attention, and there may be an explanation as to what a Smurf is, other than a little blue creature. And here's the thing: in the westernization of most fairy tales, or the commercialization of most fairy tales, fairies became very kind, and they became bestowers of wishes, and
That's
they became
comical.
very cutesy. And our comprehension of fairies and tends to be of a lighthearted, warm sensation. But if you look at the stories, the actual stories, they're dark and sinister. And so it was not because my teacher, the same teacher, introduced me to Shock-Headed Peter. If you don't know who Shock-Headed Peter is, look up Shock-Headed Peter. It is a series of children's stories that Germans give to children. And it is, the one that always got me was the long-legged man with scissors. He'd come through the window and cut off your thumbs. If you sucked on your thumbs, he would crawl through the long-legged man, and there's a picture of him with scissors, will cut your thumbs off, and you'll bleed to death. Wow. As a matter of fact, I think the children in Shock-Headed Peter all died. Shock-Headed Peter himself got electrocuted. So, all these stories are dark, sinister, but cautionary. They're supposed to teach you, don't suck on your thumb.
Opposable and disposable.
Yeah, there you go.
So what I need you to do, JT,
Yeah.
is cut that story about the thumb thing and send it to my sister. My sister was an avid thumb sucker.
Oh, yeah,
and that will absolutely ruin her. And I
Send
need
an image, a picture of, because it's an illustrated book.
Sure.
So the guy who comes through your window to cut off your thumbs because you suck your thumbs.
I love that.
Yeah, we should definitely.
We should do
a series. We should do like a little like a segment where we just ruin people's childhood with like disturbing aspects, just like the Smurfs. Because that's why it was the most viral thing, the most well-known thing that we've ever done.
Well, yeah. Do you know the true story of Little Mermaid?
That's my favorite one. I loved that.
All right, tell it.
Oh God, no! Go ahead, Chris. You're the better storyteller.
So Hans
at
Christian
this.
Andersen was not a cheery individual.
No, he wasn't.
And so the story of the Little Mermaid follows the trend that you really know, that she traded in her fin for legs so that she could woo this man that she fell in love with. But in the story, there is no time where they're together because she immediately goes and he's already getting married. He's like either about to be wed, or it is his wedding day, or she basically gave up everything to come and see that he was getting married. And her sister traded her hair for a knife and gave the knife to the Little Mermaid and said, if you kill the prince, you can have your tail back. You can become a mermaid again. But of course, her love was too great, and so she gave herself up to the waves. And this is what got so disturbing. Sea foam is dead mermaids. Wherever you see sea foam, it is a dead mermaid. This is the tale. She goes into the water and becomes sea foam, which is the mermaid corpse. So
rotting in the ocean.
It will haunt you all your days when you go to the beach and you see some sea foam. You're like, oh, dead mermaid.
I love it. Bro. I was a big Little Mermaid fan when I was a child, so when I heard that, I was like, yay! That's
and
so
Hans Christian
fun.
Andersen just wrote some of the saddest stories. And it was all about sad, because that was a sad story.
It is.
Like all that she went through just to get to this prince and then to arrive at the doorstep and be like, and her heart breaks. And she doesn't know what to do. She can't go back to the ocean. And one of her sisters gives up her beautiful hair and says, take this knife, kill him. And she contemplates it, but in the end, she gives herself over to the waves.
Well, I thank you for suffering through this, Chris, because I know he's so humble that I've always am like, should we do something like this? Anytime we do anything that's like,
he got this out of it.
He did get that out of it. No, it's true. But, you're so humble and all of that about like everything you do. So it's just like, thank you for suffering through it. And we had a really good time. And it's good to have an episode where we celebrate Chris as a storyteller because it's so remarkable.
On guard.
It's very incredible.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
It's wonderful. I'm happy to be here and happy to share it with all of you.
And now we have little swords. Well, Chris has little swords.
Which makes me very happy.
That's very exciting. Yes. Oh, God. Okay. Well, well, thank you guys so much for joining us today and celebrating Chris's birthday.
Woo!
Yee-haw! So with that, though, my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And JT's over there. So
yep. I'm over here. Well, I never sign off. Hold on. I never sign off.
Do you not?
No,
I feel like you
usually.
do.
No, I don't.
I don't know why
I'll
my
let
brain
y'all
is...
do
Because
it.
by the time we sign off, he's off puttering somewhere.
That is true.
Yeah, I'm like
that
going
is true.
crazy.
You are usually puttering, but now that you're sitting here... Well, anyways, goodbye. Stay spooky.
Y'all.